Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and all of our special guests. This is a great day. We really enjoy doing this every year. Thank you to both Rusty and Jay for putting this together and getting everyone here. I was telling Rusty this morning that I had a nightmare about this day for whatever reason. And then I woke up and I remembered, nope, Rusty and Jay are in charge. It's all good. It's all good. So I am Christine Amin. I am the president of the Rotary Club of Greenville. And again, we are so lucky to have all of you here. This is the safest place to be in Greenville today. So normally we start with happy bucks, but we've got a full schedule today with both gifts, presentations, and a speaker. So we're going to skip happy bucks, but please, on your table, that blue cart bucket, please put some money in it, some change, some dollars, whatever you have. I am going to move on to our positive thought for today. Today, we are especially pleased to welcome members of our law enforcement community. Their work asks much of them: good judgment in difficult moments, patience in the face of stress, and a steady commitment to protecting others. As Rotarians, we believe in service above self. In many ways, that same spirit is reflected in those who choose to serve in law enforcement, working each day to help keep our community safe and secure. May we take a moment to appreciate their dedication, recognize the challenges they face, and remember that strong communities are built when people work together with respect, trust, and a shared commitment to the common good. We are grateful for your service, and we are honored to have you with us today. If you would please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, normally we would introduce guests, but we have so many guests here today that we're not going to individually recognize them, but Lisa would like to recognize two people from our lovely school of Alexander Elementary.
So today we have Alexander Elementary winners for February. First, the teacher of the month, Michaela Latif. Stand up, stand up. Michaela. Michaela is a third grade teacher, and this is her second year in education. Also, we have the staff member of the month, Sandra Fagroso. Sandra. Sandra is a media center clerk and English for speakers of other languages teacher, and this is her 13th year in education.
Thank y'all for being here from Alexander. We really appreciate it. Dave Carfolite.
I'm going to start off this afternoon with two quick recognitions. Nick Skay has stepped up to play a big part of our Coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust efforts. I want to thank him for that, and he matched all your contributions for February. He works for First Community Financial Consultants, where he's known as Mr. Grand Slam. He's a major Atlanta Braves fan, loves to go out with his wife and 2 kids to the ball field, and Grand Slam comes from the results he gets for his clients. Now, this month, our match partner is our president-elect, Jeremy Hart, who was recently promoted to principal owner of EMC Engineering Services. EMC is a consulting engineering firm with 10 offices over a wide range of services to municipalities, governmental agencies. Bottom line, if you want to put your building on firm foundation and you want to make it beautiful, go talk to Jeremy. Now, last month, we played a video of an Alzheimer's patient waiting for a bus with his daughter, her caretaker as well. In the months ahead, I'm going to be playing other videos that will give you more insight into the people and their caretakers who deal with disease. But most of the videos I'm going to show you come from the United Kingdom. Turns out that dementia is the leading cause of death in the British Isles at 11.9%. Good news is their percentage is dropping. Bad news is ours is going up. There are successes, and this morning I'm going to share with you the success from Harvard Medical. But this effort can't fully help eradicate the disease without you putting greenbacks in the blue bucket. So please be sure and contribute every meeting to CART. And I turn it over to the folks at Harvard.
This is really different. This is exciting. Is lithium the holy grail for Alzheimer's treatment that we've been looking for? Scientists at Harvard Medical School think maybe yes. So this study basically links the amount of lithium in your brain with memory and memory loss and cognition. What's so cool about this study is it's the first to really show that lithium, which is like a common trace element that's in all of us, if it's depleted, it can really lead to memory loss and cognition problems. And they tested this idea by feeding mice a diet without lithium, and they developed memory problems, just like in Alzheimer's. And when they added the lithium back to their diet, it reversed it. They also studied 400 people, their brains after their death, and they matched it up with the way these people performed a memory test when they were still alive. And they were able to see that the less amounts of lithium in their brains, the worse they did on memory tests. So a real breakthrough into perhaps this is a new way of thinking about what causes Alzheimer's, or at least one of the primary causes, and how to target and develop medications to treat it. So when I first read this study, I was like, wow, this is really different. This is exciting. Like, I'm used to reading studies and it's like another study that says we should eat right. But this one just really jumped out at me. And then when I started talking to other scientists, brain researchers, they were using words like cool and novel and rigorous, and this is stuff that they hadn't thought about before, and that this could potentially lead to a new way to think about Alzheimer's and to design drugs to treat it.
I wasn't really supposed to be up here so much today, but Dave Brenner, our district governor, was going to talk about the district conference that's coming up, and he is not here today, so you have me again. So who in this room has been to a Rotary district conference? And keep your hands up. Did you have fun? Yes, absolutely. It is a blast. It is so fun. And this year, the district conference is right here in Greenville at the Hyatt. It is the third weekend of April. That's the 24th through the 27th. And if you would like to go learn more about Rotary, socialize with Rotarians, and just have a really, really good time, check DACDB and sign up for the conference, okay? And I think that's it for me for quite a while.
My name is Jay Gresham, and it's a great honor to stand before you today as our clerk of court, but also as a fellow Rotarian to recognize Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. This tradition began in 1976 when Greenville Rotarians approached then Police Chief Harold Jennings with the idea of recognizing an outstanding officer each year. That chief was my grandfather. What began as a single award has grown into a long-standing partnership between Rotary and the Greenville County law enforcement community. It is built on respect for those who protect and serve. Today, we welcome a jurist whose career reflects that same commitment to service. Judge Charles Simmons has served as Master in Equity for Greenville County since 1989 and also sits by designation as a Special Circuit Court Judge. He presides over the 13th Judicial Circuit Adult Drug Court Program and Veterans Treatment Court, programs that combine accountability with opportunity, structure with second chances. A graduate of East Tennessee State University, magna cum laude, and the University of South Carolina School of Law, Judge Simmons began his legal career clerking for the Honorable C. Victor Pyle Jr. before entering private practice and ultimately dedicating decades to the bench. His leadership extends statewide and nationally. He has served as the president of the South Carolina Equity Court Association, the president of the South Carolina Treatment Courts Association, and chairman of the board of directors for the National Drug Court Association. He is a recipient of the Order of the Palmetto and a member of the National Drug Court Professionals Hall of Fame. Beyond the courtroom, Judge Simmons is deeply involved in his church, First Presbyterian, just down the road, where he is active in ministry and service, reflecting the same sense of duty that defines his professional life. But beyond titles and honors, Judge Simmons has spent his career strengthening the justice system from within, demanding responsibility while helping restore lives. That balance is certainly not easy. It requires experience, steadiness, and conviction. Please join me in welcoming Judge Charles Simmons.
When Rusty called me last night and said that the first four speakers he had asked suddenly had an inability to be here, I said, sure, Rusty. That really didn't. Some of you are thinking, did he really do that? No, he didn't do that. What a treat. What an honor to be here. And when I was born and raised here, and when I look through the list of names, the law enforcement names on this program, and when I see who's going to be honored here today, these are the legends of the legends. And to be able to have a small part of this is just what a treat for me. What a treat for me. And I have about 15 minutes to talk with you about one of the most innovative things the criminal justice system in our country has ever done. And I want to suggest to you that probably most of you are not even familiar with it. Here's where we're going to go. We're going to go backwards before we go forwards. Some of you will recall your childhood nursery rhymes, Hapless Humpty Dumpty. He sat on a wall, he had a great fall, and he's crashed. His life is just in tatters. But here's the most frustrating part. None of the king's horses, none of the king's men can put Humpty Dumpty together again. So you have a citizen whose life is in tatters. You have a government who says, I know it's messed up. There's nothing we can do. That is a frustrating situation. So as a country, what did we do? Well, in the early 1980s, the wonderful political approach and slogan, just say no. It's a wonderful bumper sticker. It's a wonderful lapel pin. It got a lot of votes for a lot of politicians across the country. And the idea was, let's legislate and incarcerate our way out of addiction and substance abuse issues. Problem was this. After we built a lot of new prisons, after we increased prison sentences across the board for drug and alcohol-related crimes, the research caught up with the politicians. And they said, it's not working. Surely there has to be some other way. Is there an ongoing problem? Here in 2026. Law enforcement, better than anyone, understands that probably 80% of all law enforcement calls, of all visits to the emergency room, of all tragedies that occur on the streets are alcohol and drug related. And we see statistics like this, and we say, that's a problem. And look down at the bottom. I think that's a fascinating statistic. Tell somebody to go get help. we still have such a mindset of just say no and you can get out of it. Look at some of these. As law enforcement knows, that 0.15, that's almost twice the level to be arrested for DUI in South Carolina. So what are we going to do? In the late 1980s, down in Miami, Florida, a judge and a group of treatment professionals got together. They were so frustrated because they kept seeing the same people, the same situations, the same problems, and it was all coming out of initially drug abuse. And so what happened is something called drug court, which has now been even enlarged to call treatment courts, came into being. Because for so many years, as a judge, you have two primary options. One, lock them up. Two, put them on probation. Well, in addition to being expensive, research tells us, as we're going to talk about in just a few minutes, it's not particularly effective for either one of these. So let's punish the offenders we're afraid of and treat the ones we're mad at. And I'll go ahead and tell you right off the bat, there are some people, if they're violent, that they can't be out in society, they need to be locked up, and they need to be locked up for a long time. But for those who are dealing with substance abuse, those who are dealing with addiction issues, we couldn't keep doing business as normal because it just wasn't working. And then again, why should we care? Look at some of these statistics. $82 billion a year on incarceration cost. Those are the direct costs. That does not include typically the primary breadwinner. When they're locked up, guess what happens? Their family is now more reliant upon social services. So the indirect costs are staggering. And in South Carolina, look down at the bottom. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a few minutes. So what can we do? Accountability and compassion and recovery. It's still a radical concept. But here's what happens. You bring the law enforcement together, you bring the prosecutor together, you bring the defense lawyer together, you bring the judge together, you bring the treatment professionals together, you bring vocational rehabilitation experts together, and you get them all together and we say, what can we do to address the issue? Because as a society, we need to seek justice and walk humbly with the Lord and find a way for those who are willing to be helped to be helped. And it was this crazy idea that continues to explode across the country. We're going to save lives and we're going to save tax dollars. We don't hear that very often, do we? Something that really makes sense. Now, we're going to look at a couple of slides. Well, before we get there, every judicial circuit in South Carolina has a treatment court. Look at the breadth of them. And we are so fortunate here in the 13th Circuit to have the strong support of the sheriff and of the chief and of our solicitor, Cindy Crick. Without these three, it would be much more difficult to do what we do. A large part of this dealing with drug testing. We're going to look at a couple of slides. They're just kind of interesting, but they're kind of beyond the depth of what we're going on today. The mind of an addict is a remarkably wonderful place. They are so creative. They come up with so many different thoughts. And I'm going to go ahead and disappoint some of you. This is an article off the internet. Not everything you read on the internet is true. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. We can argue later. But there's so many websites out there say, if you want to beat a drug test, here's how you do it. And some of these people who are posting things, they have PhDs in pharmacology. I mean, most of the stuff doesn't work, but here, You ever heard of fake pee? Well, you can't answer that publicly, can you? I'm sorry. That wasn't a good question to ask. It's out there. If you're going to be taking a drug test for a job or or as part of your probation, guess what? Go to your friendly local internet, order some fake pee. Okay, well, how are we going to make sure we give it a sample? Well, a handy little device called a Whizzinator. It's crazy what's out there. It's crazy what all an addict will do to avoid getting caught, because it's not a question for so many of them of their will. There are physiological changes that are going on through their brain because of their extensive drug use. So, how about here in the 13th Circuit, Greenville and Pickens? Drug court's been around a little bit since 98. Look at some of those statistics. In the middle, observed urine test. We learned early on in dealing with treatment courts, an unobserved urine test isn't worth anything because of what we just saw. Not a particularly enjoyable task for the drug testing companies, but nonetheless, that's what you do. In the 13th Circuit, we average anywhere from 30 to 40 participants at a time. And these are hardcore, long-time drug addicts. They've been locked up. They've done SCDC. They've done everything. And they get to a point where they just say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to try something because nothing else has worked. And this is an 18-month intensive program where on average, every Thursday at 4:30, they're in open court reporting in front of me. And in the other times during the week, they're in counseling. They have to be gainfully employed. They're going through multiple random drug screens each week. We also have a veterans treatment court. This is for men and women who've served in our country and they come back and somehow they get involved in the criminal justice system. And the slogan that I really love with the Veterans Court is, you fought for us, now we're going to fight for you. Let me back up one thing. Graduation rate about 60%. You're going to understand why that is a remarkably significant positive. Graduation rate with vet court. All right, let's dig a little deeper in South Carolina. That is a staggering cost, that first number. $37,503 a year. And that is paid by a group affectionately known as us, taxpayers. And again, does not include the indirect social services cost. And when you start doing the math, at the end of 2025, almost 17,000 inmates across the state. Now, treatment court, on average, costs about $7,400 a year. And each participant has to contribute weekly money into the bank, so to speak, that goes towards defraying the costs. Look at that middle statistic. SCDC, with South Carolina Department of Corrections, the largest percentage of inmates really should be the sweet spot of life. Primarily male, but 20 to 39 years old, makes almost 60% of the prison population. Now, look at the next to the last. The national rearrest. If somebody gets locked up by law enforcement, comes and is either found guilty or pleads guilty in court, and they go to prison, statistically, we can tell you with nothing else, about 2/3 of them within 3 years, most within the first 2 years, are back in the criminal justice system. So the whole lock them up mentality, it's an exercise in futility. That's why that bottom number is so impressive. Of those who make it through the program, and again, it's 18 months, you're having to learn how to live life. And you're doing it with a treatment professional in your business, with the judge in your business, everybody in your business. But if you finish that program, statistically, there's a 75% chance you're never going to wear another set of handcuffs. That, I want to suggest to you, is when the criminal justice system makes a difference that matters. And we're saving hundreds of millions of dollars in tax dollars along the way. So, as I wrap up, what can I do? The I, of course, being you, not me. Let's understand this about addiction. I got to tell you, growing up, I was of the mindset, just say no. Okay, if you got a problem with alcohol, you got a problem with drugs, just stop it. Pretty simple. That's just not the case. Nobody grows up saying, wow, I hope one day I become addicted to alcohol, or I become addicted to drugs and I throw away every relationship that matters to me in addition to throwing my life away. We can't incarcerate our way out of addiction. We've tried it. It hadn't worked. So be aware, be familiar with treatment court opportunities in your community. Talk with the chief, with the sheriff, with our wonderful solicitor, and say, what's available? What can we do? And that last point, maybe there is something after all that the king's horses and the king's men can do. So thank you so much for letting me be with you all. What a treat, what an honor. Thank you for your support. And now I will sit down and turn it back over to the wonderful recipients of the award today, and thank you.
We were trying to streamline this, so instead of introducing these fine folks, we're just like letting them come up here. So thank you, Chief, for being the first one up.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here with you. Want to thank you all for recognizing law enforcement. It's always great when we get to recognize our law enforcement officers for the work that they do. It's even more meaningful when other people outside the organization, outside the police department, outside the sheriff's office, outside our federal organizations, when they step up to also recognize our officers. And because we have so many people that do such a great job here in Greenville. I don't know if you paid attention to the news recently, but in Greenville, the city of Greenville, we had a big drop in crime last year, over 15% reduction over the year before, over 24. We are also at the lowest crime rate in 25 years, with the largest reduction over the past 5 years. So that is all a testimony to these officers and the work that they do every day. We're about to award an officer who obviously is just one of the examples of that. But we have 220 officers at the Greenville Police Department that work hard for you every day here in the city. And I'm so proud of them. Also proud of our partnership with the Sheriff's Office, and I know they're recognizing one of their great officers today. But we work together here in Greenville County to keep everyone safe. And so just no matter where you live in Greenville County, know that you have great law enforcement officers that are working to help you and keep you safe. So proud of all of them. Today, the Greenville Police Department is going to recognize Detective David Paramore. He does a great job. He is in our white collar unit in our investigations division. But this is specifically for the work he has done more recently. He is one of our Secret Service task force officers. And we have one of our Secret Service agents here with us today because he works with Detective Paramore all the time to solve especially cryptocurrency and a lot of crimes you don't hear about because they're financial in nature. They're not violent, but they're financial. But people are losing millions, billions of dollars every year to these type of fraud. And Detective Paramore has really stepped up, and he has worked hard with the department to get us at a place and get all our detectives a place where we can get information through our federal system and work with our federal partners and solve a lot of crimes. And it's just been a great partnership. And without him doing everything he did, to get us there. And he also works hard to get others there. He has done training videos for our Criminal Justice Academy that is shared across the state. And he has worked hard with our federal agencies to train other people and get them to become task force officers. But today we want to recognize him. I'm very proud of him and the work he does as a Greenville police detective and as one of our Secret Service task force officers. So Dave, come on up.
Proud of you.
Thank you all for this wonderful opportunity. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I thank everybody that put me at the path of success. Obviously, our leadership that is here today, I couldn't have served under anyone better than Chief Howie Thompson. And he put us in paths of success. He wants everybody to succeed, be successful in their cases, their prosecutions, and the amount of training that we receive, he is all for it. So I can't thank Chief Thompson, Major Molinax, Major Blair, and of course, the white collar unit that I'm here with today, and also Special Agent Jolie. Thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here. We want to thank the Rotary for giving us an opportunity to recognize one of our deputies and all their great work. Me and Chief Thompson talk a lot about how fortunate we are to have such great people and have the opportunity to recognize them for the hard work they do. It is truly them that make the wheels go round. And I have to thank our Clerk of Court, Jay Gresham, because I failed to turn in an application for this on time. And Jay's persistence paid off to make sure our deputy was recognized today. So Jay, thank you for that. Judge, appreciate your comments. I noticed you included Judge Kittredge, our Chief Justice, in your program. He spoke last year and didn't mention you at all. So I'll address that with him when I see him. I think that's highly unfair of our Chief Justice not to recognize you, especially since you've served since 1989. No doubt. And not to mention that I was a senior in high school in 1989. Not to make you feel any way at all. I just thought I would bring that up. And it wasn't a great year for me, but we can talk about that later. This year's recipient of the Greenville Rotary Deputy of the Year Award has certainly established himself as a proven leader, not only among men and women of the Greenville County Sheriff's Office, but also as a current veteran who served in the Army National Guard for 9 years. One look at his pedigree not only qualifies him as a nominee for this award, but also proves that there is no one who is better suited to represent the ideals and uphold the prestige that this award carries with it. Many great men and women, if you look at your program, embody these qualifications, but few personify its meaning with daily consistency and intentionality. His tenure at the Sheriff's Office started in 2010, joining the agency's uniform patrol as a deputy serving Greenville County. Following several years in uniform patrol and after countless hours of arrest, reports, and community service, he transitioned to an investigator role for our Property Crimes Division. Working in this new capacity marked a portion of his career which allowed him to fully invest in bringing forth justice to victims of crimes. From property crimes to armed robbery, an eventual spot in the homicide unit, he worked relentlessly investigating the most heinous of crimes, resulting in a 100% clearance rate, pivotal in providing justice to victims and their families. After a brief stint as a sergeant in the Greenville County Sheriff's Office Uniform Patrol Division, he eventually returned to the Criminal Investigations Division, where he now serves, or did serve, as a homicide sergeant. He continued to prove his value, not just to this agency, but to the members of the community. In 2023, he was promoted to his current position as a lieutenant within the Criminal Investigations Division, encompassing homicide, cold case, major crimes, missing persons, and economic crimes. Under his stewardship, the homicide unit experienced a clearance rate of 96%, well above the 50% national average. This year's recipient of the Greenville Rotary Deputy of the Year Award brings gravity and levity to every position he has maintained by creating a team that trusts and relies on each other. He has inspired hard work and dedication amongst his subordinates through his 15-year career, setting the example by deeming no one to do the work beneath him. He diligently works to witness success for each investigator in their efforts. I'm honored to stand here today and to present this distinguished award to the distinguished individual. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing Lieutenant Robert Grubbs as the 2026 Greenville Rotary Deputy of the Year.
I want to thank Sheriff Lewis for the kind words that he said about me. This is all what we do at the sheriff's office. I think we've coined it as one team. We all work together as a team, all the way from the sheriff who fights to get us the technology and the resources that we need, all the way down to the dispatcher who takes the initial homicide or violent crimes call, to the deputy who arrives on scene, to us going on scene, giving us the resources, the tools, the information to solve these crimes. So I know it's cliche, but it's not just me. It's a gallant team effort every time we have a critical incident in Greenville County. So thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing today? Good. Thank y'all for coming out here, especially for our next recipient, who's Aaron Carlisle with FBI. Now, I'm Bill Watkins. I'm at the U.S. Attorney's Office. I'm a federal prosecutor. And it's a privilege to work with agents like Aaron on a daily basis. Aaron and I just had a trial a couple weeks ago, child exploitation case, where this guy went from molesting a child just a few months before Aaron was able to catch him with the help of some other officers, looking at child pornography and storing that, right, and trying to groom children. So, yeah, she is just a fantastic agent to work with. I know you guys in business as well as law enforcement know there's a lot of good people, folks on our teams that say can get the ball to the 20-yard line. And you can kick a lot of field goals from the 20. But there's a very small percentage, again, in business or in law enforcement, that takes it to the goal line. And I know when Aaron brings me a case, when I ask her to help me out with something, we're not going to stop at the 20. We're not kicking field goals. Aaron is going to have a package together, and if something else needs to be done, no matter what I ask, what hours, whether it's, hey, next week, how about go to Florida and interview a victim for me for this trial? She's on a plane, and she's doing that and does a remarkable interview that helps us in our case. She is not a 20%er. She's a 100%er. Not going to get into her business, but this young lady also has a lot of health concerns and days that if I were her, I'd probably be in bed. I call her, ask her for something, and she doesn't feel good, but she's out there doing it because she cares. She primarily specializes in crimes against children. She doesn't get a break to do some of the white collar or even to deal with a violent thug and take your mind off children being harmed, children being abducted, child pornography. She's 100% on that stuff that's horrible, that I hope none of you have to see and deal with, that she deals with on a daily basis. I couldn't do my job without agents like Aaron. And Aaron, I just want to thank you for putting it at the goal line every time you come see me, and you give this community, you give the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, 100%. We love you, girl. And that is the Mr. Leonard.
So I did not realize that we were speaking today until a few minutes ago. First and foremost, just thank y'all for the opportunity to be able to do my job. It is tiring and it's exhausting and it makes you sick, but it is worth it every day. And I'm fortunate that I get to work with these two other agencies on a daily basis because we can't do what we do without them. We can't do what we do without our U.S. Attorney's Office. And one of the reasons I'm able to take the ball to the finish line is because I have a U.S. Attorney's Office who's willing to stand behind me. And when I bring a case and they maybe doubt where it's going to end up, they trust me and they allow me to run with it. So thank you to you guys for having that trust and faith in me to be able to make our communities a little bit safer day by day. And that is the goal at the end of the day, right? Also, I would like to point out that in 1989, I had not entered elementary school. So I think I win. But in all seriousness, thank you so much. To me, this means the world. A lot of what we do is behind the scenes. I know my other officers can attest to that, and we don't mind being behind the scenes. But every now and again, it is nice to be recognized for the hard hours that you put in. So thank you.
Okay, with going along with the theme here, Judge Simmons in 1989, I had graduated from college. So actually had a master's degree and was in the Air Force. So don't feel too bad. And thank you for being here today to speak. That's the second time I've heard his speech, and it was just as good the second time as it was the first time. I am so glad that we have drug courts that help people in my line of work as sort of a public defender on DSS cases. I see a lot of people that their lives have been ruined by drugs and alcohol, and everybody gets a second, maybe even a third chance. So that's good. Thank you so much for your work on that. Okay, so for the program today, we had two sponsors, the Allen Clardy Law Firm and the Epps and Plumley Law Firm. So we want to recognize them. So of course, if you're in an accident, call the Clardy Law Firm. And if any of these good folks arrest you, call the Epps and Plumley Law Firm. So I'm sure that would not happen. It was really an honor today to recognize these special law enforcement people. And I have to thank Jay and Rusty again. We finally got a federal law enforcement person to recognize. We have not been able to do that in, I think it's 5 years. So that was great that we were able to recognize the city and the county and the federal. So I do have, let's see, I have just a few announcements of dates that I didn't mention before. So this Wednesday at Scott's office, they are hosting a happy hour, and there will be someone from the Institute for Child Success just to talk about it. She's not asking for money. She's not asking you to even volunteer. It's just an informational thing. So at 5:30 in Scott's office on Wednesday. Also, this Saturday is the last work day at a Child's Haven to finish our Serenity Garden. So who has volunteered for that? All right. So it's a lot of fun, right? You get to use drills and hammers, and my drilling skills have increased phenomenally. So this Saturday at Child's Haven at 9 a.m. And then next Thursday is Coffee and Conversation. And at the next Rotary meeting, which will be March 24th, the city of Greenville canine handlers will be here and will be bringing their dogs. So I, for one, well, I'll definitely be here. Yes. So have I forgotten anything, Jenny? I always forget something. Nope. Okay. So with that said, let's stand for the 5-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun? Have a great day.